Okay, so this is a follow-up video to Tomi Lahren. I did a video on this, Christ, I think a couple of months ago now, I'm not sure. And I reacted to it and I broke it down into different segments. So in case somebody didn't want to watch the whole thing. And I'll put it on my Facebook, so if you want to go and watch that in reaction to the first video. So I've put the whole video on there and then I've broke it down into segments just so you can get a taste of it. So this is apparently her follow-up to PSA for boyish men. She was having a right rant in the last one. So let's have a look, see what she's got to say in this one.
Waiting for y'all to just join on in here. Some of you, I probably will answer some questions later on, but I have some things I need to go through first. Right.
She seems to have a bit of a nervous laugh on her.
All right. So for those of you the other night, I believe it was Monday night, who watched my PSA for boyish men, it has since gained a little bit of...
Oh yeah, I haven't watched this and I forgot what she said in the other video. Something about men being trash or something like that. She was, again, you can just go back and look at the video. Ordinarily, if I was to kind of like look at something like this, I'd need to sort of like come in like having refreshed my memory so I know what the situation is. But with this girl, it's such basic stuff. I mean, I've got a pen and paper here just in case I need to learn something from her wisdom. But yeah, what she was saying in the last video was just, although there were some good points, the majority of it was just a rant and it was just so ridiculous you couldn't really take her seriously. So let's have a look.
A little traction. I also posted it on Facebook and I think it's sitting at about 1.5 million views right now. So obviously...
Nice little shout out there to the numbers. So this has done her career really well.
It picked up a little bit of talk, a little bit of chatter, a few haters.
Well, I mean, I put a video out to it. I know a lot of people did. But again, I think that anyone that disagrees with her isn't naturally a hater. They just sort of don't necessarily agree. Just because you don't agree with someone doesn't make you a hater.
Which is okay. Not like I'm not used to that. I'm very used to it. But I did want to clear a few things up about that video and just expand on it a little bit because that's always important. You can't ever say everything you want to say in 15 minutes. And I've heard a lot of comments on it, a lot of praise, a lot of criticism. So I figured I'd just go through some of them if y'all are ready. All right.
I'm ready, Tomi. Let's get into this.
All right. So first of all, some of the misperceptions and misconceptions about some of the things I said in that video that I want to go through real quick. First and foremost, okay, I don't think all men are trash. It might be you. It might be men. It might be men. Now, I've often talked about the pussification of America and how men are no longer men. I talk to my mom about this a lot and she says, well, maybe it's just the guys in Texas. Maybe it's just the guys in Los Angeles. It is not just the guys in Los Angeles, Nashville, Dallas, and they're not any better in the Midwest. Quite frankly, I think they're trash all over this country. And I also want to again reiterate the distinction that I made between boys and men. There is a big difference between boys and men. And I'm not talking about an age difference. I'm talking about a mentality difference in the age range of about 20 to I think about 55, maybe even 60. A lot of men are trash. A lot of men don't know how to treat women. If you are a man and you watched that and you thought that I was calling you trash, I will apologize for that because I don't think all men are trash. I don't think any men are trash at all. I think that
this apology thing, I mean, if she did call me a trash, even if she came up to me and said, Doug, you're a trash man, it wouldn't bother me and she wouldn't need to apologise. She's entitled to her opinion. So there's no apology necessary, Tomi.
Boys who think that they are men have a tendency...
How does one distinguish between if one's a boy or a man? I mean, both are males, aren't they? So how do you establish the difference between the two? How do you monitor maturity?
Shall we say, in 2020, to not quite act the right way. And I'm not saying that girls...
Act the right way according to whom?
Girls act the right way, mind you. Okay, this is an equal opportunity situation here, but I'm not a dude, in case you haven't noticed. I don't identify as a dude, I'm not a dude. So for me to do a video about how crappy women are in the dating scene, I really don't think I could offer you that much knowledge on it because I've never dated a girl yet.
Exactly. And you're one of them, you have all the character traits of that kind of a girl that men bitch and moan about, which is ironic because you're coming out and bitching and moaning about men.
Okay, so I can't help you there. I'm not saying that girls are perfect and men are awful or boys are awful. I'm not saying that, never would say that. I'm sure that there are many horrible girls out there that do many horrible things. I myself am not perfect. I acknowledge that. I'm happy to acknowledge it. So I wanted to clear that up. Men, I don't think you're trash. I happen to quite like men, and especially.
I think she's a little bit nervous by the way she keeps like swallowing, and she's like, you can see her heart's racing a little bit, and she's got this nervous laugh going on, bless her. She's pissed somebody off, or so many people off, and or whether that's somebody that she works for pushing her to do it to save a job, or whether she does it out there because you think, oh, I've done something wrong, or whether she just has more to say. I'm not sure, but so far we're like almost 3 minutes in and she's a lot more humble in this video.
And especially real men who act like men and who treat women the right way.
I'll have to take the real man test and have to look to see which is the right way to treat women, because that assumes that all women are, there's one way to treat women and that all women are the same, and women are completely different.
And I'm going to get into that in a little bit, but I want to clear up some other misperceptions about the video, things that maybe you guys were confused about, so I can help you out.
She's so helpful, isn't she, our Tomi? Very, very helpful. All she wants to do is help and brag about her numbers.
It was not in any way, shape, or form about my ex-fiance. Okay? My ex-fiance is a saint. My ex-fiance is a great individual, a great man, and the woman that ends up with him is going to be incredibly lucky, because all the things that I bitched about in that video, he didn't do any of those things. He's a great guy.
So she's come on and she said, men are this, men are that, men are the other, boyish men and all that kind of stuff. They're boys, da 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 da. And you've come on now and said, that's, my ex is the complete opposite. Well, why is he your ex then?
I want to clear that up. It wasn't me being scorned about a broken off engagement. It wasn't me being scorned about a bad breakup. I haven't dated anybody in months. So it wasn't about that, and it wasn't about my ex-fiance. So I want to clear that up.
Yeah, I don't think she's in the right headspace to date. I mean, she's very very angry and bitter and sort of like mean, very mean. Now, she's saying that she hasn't dated in months. Does that mean that she's not had sex in months? Because this is what people do. They say, oh, he's not my boyfriend, we're just seeing each other. Oh, we're seeing each other, but we're not exclusive. Oh, we're not seeing each other, I only slept with him a couple of times.
If he's watching or his friends are watching, not about him.
I'm very confused.
But I also want to talk a little bit about a couple of the responses that I got, and once again, kind of just reinforcing my point here. So the kind of responses that I got from at least people that I know, males that I know, were two. First of all, most of the guys in my life, they either thought it was about them and it wasn't, and they apologized and they didn't need to, or I had friends of mine that I've never dated who are just dudes who messaged me and said, hey, this actually really helped me out because it's a jungle out there and sometimes men don't know how to act. They don't know what women want. They don't understand what they're doing wrong, which was the whole point of my video. It wasn't to give men a guideline of things they already knew. It was to help you out in case there's some things you didn't, okay? Maybe men don't know that we like plans to be made. Maybe men don't know that consistency is important. Maybe men don't know that it's nice to be valued for what you bring to the table.
But you see, men that like you will do those things naturally. Only men that aren't that into you, it's kind of like what I said in the other one, there's a film called He's Just Not That Into You, and I think that's what all this is about. You've dated some guys that just aren't that into you, and you've fancied them and liked them, and they just haven't called you back or had consistency or made plans because they're not into you. And if they are into you and they're too nervous to date you, well, then obviously they shouldn't be dating you. If a guy isn't behaving the way that you would like him to behave, then go get another guy. There's billions of them out there. So if a guy's not calling you back because either he's just not that into you, or he's too nervous or afraid to, or not sure what to do, then he's probably not the right guy for you. So only date the people that are the right person for you.
Maybe some men don't know those things. Maybe they don't know how important communication is. Men and women.
Again, I think if she was in a happy, healthy relationship, she wouldn't be saying all this stuff. You know, this whole kind of like, oh, I'm going out to help you just in case you don't know, I'm here to teach. And it's not teaching, it's preaching. She's a preacher, and she's not coming from a helpful place.
Men and women think differently. Totally understand that. So I got a lot of men that I know who are great guys who honestly messaged me and said, hey, this is helpful. It's nice to know how women think. It's nice to know how you and your...
Yeah, they're just sucking up to you. And if you're going to have sex with any of those guys, then perfect. You've done a video complaining about men, and the guys got back in touch and said, hey, you've really helped me. Do you want to go out? And she said, no.
It's nice to know how you and your friends think. I like you. I think you're a cool chick. So it was great pointers. And that, again, reinforces my point. That is the difference between a man and a boy.
So have you got yourself a man out of making that video now because you've attracted so many men to message you?
The men in my life that I've dated, met, gone out with, or I'm just friends with, they either laughed, they thought it was funny, or they were like,
it wasn't funny.
So I'm going to go ahead and say them because they need to be said. I am really so sick of my friends having to deal with trash men. I am tired of dealing with trash men, so I'm going to help you out. Make plans. So let's go through these lists again because
And if they were I mean, I don't remember ever laughing at it. There's nothing funny about it. I mean, if that's you doing stand-up comedy, then you need to practice on your timing a bit better.
Like, hey, cool, thanks for the heads up, okay? That's a man. And then I got the other response.
Well, if you're a man, then you don't need tips on how to be a man from a girl. So there are men getting in touch saying, thanks for the heads up. Well, by definition, if they're already men, then they wouldn't need your help or pointers on how boyish men should be more manly.
The other response is from boys. And I don't know a whole lot of boys, by the way.
Wow. She's got a real problem. Look at her face. She this whole boys and men thing.
But there were some boys that like to creep through Twitter, some with blue check marks, some that are in bum F wherever and don't whatever, that just wanted to make a comment. And their responses were, Tomi is bashing men. Tomi hates men.
Well, bashing is when you call them trash, and that's what you were doing.
It is not just the guys in Los Angeles, Nashville, Dallas, and they're not any better in the Midwest. Quite frankly, I think they're trash all over this country. We're not your fan anymore because you hate men. That is a boy response, because a true man would know that the thing...
Oh my God, she's going back into... Look, you see how she came on with this kind of humble, more kind of apologetic, nervous kind of thing, and she's flipped back round into rant mode, and she's going back onto her point.
That I said probably didn't apply to them. And if some of those things did apply to them, they were like, hey, let me make it better. So if men want to make a video and be like, hey girls, this is what I think you're doing wrong, by all means, please do it. I will be a viewer. All right? Just throw.
So you've put yourself in a really bad situation, and now you're trying to encourage others to put themselves in the same situation you're in right now, where you've come out and you've said a load of things thoughtlessly, pretending to help when you're not really helping, you're just having a rant and preaching to people. And now you're acting like... The whole way in which she talks is from this, I'm up here, you're down there. Everything that she says, oh, my thing, my this, my that, my friends, my views, my this, my that, this, everything's so great up here and everything's so bad, and you boys... It's just her whole attitude is disgusting.
All right, just throwing that out there. But yes, so to all those, especially on Twitter, because Twitter is the most vile place, that had something to say about how, she's not a conservative. She critiqued men. She's a feminist. I'm not a feminist, and being a feminist is a completely different thing from what I did.
No, it's not. And I don't understand how being a conservative's got anything to do with being a feminist.
If I'm going to point out and criticize some of the behaviors of modern men, that...
well, again, you're doing it as a collective. You keep skipping from the collective to the individual, so it doesn't make it's difficult to keep track of what you're saying.
It does not make me a feminist. In fact, I think it makes me pretty damn conservative. I'm looking at the way men are raised right now. I'm looking at the way society is raising men, the way pop culture is raising men, and I'm saying maybe there's a problem.
This whole kind of fight, conflict, me, you, all this stuff that she's doing. I can understand now why she's having trouble getting a relationship, bless her, because it's sort of like you can't go in with conflict. You can't go in with I'm right, you're wrong, me, I'm great and you're not. It doesn't work that way. Intimacy is about acceptance and love and sort of about getting closer to people. And why would you want to get closer to somebody that's just doing that all the time?
All right? That's a very conservative thing to say.
She's not emotionally in the place for an intimate relationship. And, if she's high up in this corporate thing or whatever, being high up in the corporate industry and all that kind of stuff, you need the exact opposite traits to what's required for a loving, intimate relationship. So she's got so far to go before she can let go of all this kind of visceral rejection and aggression and pent up frustration.
To a little bit more of that in a little bit as well. But I also want to talk about the responses that I got from women, and most of them conservative women. So to all you boys out there who are telling me that I'm not a conservative because I made a critique of the way modern men act, yeah, you should know that all the girls in my DM are mostly all conservative women. And
yeah, this whole conservative thing, I'm not really that political, and I don't really adhere to the whole spectrum thing. I think if you go too far at either side of the spectrum, both are extremists and it doesn't really end well. So you kind of want to stay about the centre. Sometimes you need to go a bit left, sometimes you need to go a bit right, but it's not really a good way of identifying people. And especially for these kind of like conversations, we're all human beings, and it's all about being cooperative and getting along. And everything that she's doing is based on warfare, and intimate relationships built on warfare, I don't think really stand a chance of lasting very long or being very healthy.
They all were saying, preach, preach, preach. What you said is true. Oh my goodness. Thank gosh someone said something, because what you said is true. So those are conservative women out there. So for you so-called conservative men, who are actually some of you boys, who are saying that you can't possibly be a conservative and say anything bad about the male species in general, I'm sorry, you're wrong. I can say whatever the hell I want to.
I agree. And this is where it's sort of like it's like watching a little dog bark. It's like, it's cute watching her. And, if I was to laugh, I would be laughing at her, not with her. I can see what she's doing. She's like a little puppy just barking to get attention. And it's coming from a place, I think, of genuine frustration, because she's very clueless about a lot of things. And she's trying to, if I came on here now and said, women, stop moaning about your periods. Here are 3 things you can do to get better periods. Listen to me. I know what I'm talking about. Women have got in touch with me and they have said, I have said amazing things. It's like,
I really don't care if me speaking the truth and me speaking my mind.
Well, they're 2 different things, aren't they? So speaking the truth and speaking your mind are different things.
Bothers and triggers people on the left, the right, the middle. I don't care.
Yeah, you don't care, and that's a bit of a problem. Again, especially if you're looking for an intimate relationship. You might not be. You might not want an intimate relationship. You might not want to get married or have children or anything like that. But assuming that you do want children and a family and all that kind of stuff, it's probably a good idea to start caring.
I'm going to say what I need to say. And that's what makes me genuine and real. And for those of you that have followed me for a long time, you know that about me. I'm going to spit it to you straight.
Yeah, and it's all great being sort of like, I'm genuine and real and I say it like it is. I do like that about her. I like the fact that she's being honest, even if it is preaching or that. I don't mind listening to it. It's fun, it's entertaining. And, I'm real, I say it like it is. But, just because you see things a certain way doesn't mean to say that's how it is. That's just how you're perceiving it. And when your emotions change, your perceptions may change as well.
Whether I'm doing it on Instagram Live or I'm sitting at a bar doing it, all right? I'm going to give it to you straight. And that's the way it is. It's not me being bitter. It's not me being mad. It's just me giving you my damn final thoughts, because that is what I do. And I think I'm pretty good at it, by the way. So a lot of women came to me in my DMs and were like, thank you for saying something. So again, I just hope this can be a learning tool. I don't know everything about everything, but
she seems to act like she does. And again, it's not like a great learning tool. I mean, she wouldn't make a good teacher. I mean, this is probably why she's on the news, because it's sort of like she's very good at preaching to people. You should do this, you should do that, you should do this. And it's sort of like, that's not what a teacher does. A teacher spends a majority of their time listening to someone and thinking, right, where do they need to go from here? And it's a much more helpful and useful and caring dynamic. This whole kind of like way of, it's not so much what she's saying, because like I say, in some of the videos she had some good points. It's just that it's the place that it's coming from. She's just very angry and bitter, and that's cool. You know, we all get angry and bitter, but don't pretend that you're caring when you're not, because then you turn around and go, oh, how can it be from a loving place, and say that I'm trying to help, and then turn around and say I don't care. Like, well, which is it? Make up your mind. She's demanding consistency from men while not being consistent in her emotional arguments.
But, you know, at 27, almost 28 years old, I have been around men. I've been around a lot of millennial men, and I've seen some things that I think could be changed for the better. Communication that could be improved, things that could be improved upon that would make us all just a little happier. All right?
Yeah, that's true. But again, I think that she's got, I mean, she keeps saying that she's a conservative, but she's acting very liberally. She's acting on behalf of the group. And sort of like, you know, focus on yourself, accept responsibility for your own life, generate a relationship, an intimate relationship for your life that will be fulfilling. And then you might not feel the need to go out and rant and tell everyone else what to do. There's billions of men out there. If she had one for herself and she was happy, content and satisfied, she wouldn't be coming across with this same vigor. She could be making the same points, but from a place of genuinely helping.
Because you're going to get a real kick-ass woman who is going to be really appreciative of all those things that you fix, because they're probably really simple fixes. So I want to talk about that. I also want to talk a little bit about my backstory. All right. Again, my video the other night was not about my ex-fiance, but prior to him, I dated a lot of just really horrible men.
I'm shocked. And were they horrible men? I mean, isn't it a case of like attracts like? I mean, like, you were sexually selecting them. So it's your responsibility 100%, isn't it? Especially if you're conservative. So why were you dating horrible men? Isn't that your fault? So I don't understand how she can play the victim role after the way that she's behaved for the past 9 minutes.
All right, if you guys read my book, you know. Every guy I've ever dated has cheated on me. Every guy I've ever dated has lied to me.
Because that's what you're asking for by the way in which you're acting.
Every guy I've ever dated.
Because you don't care. Let's say if I went out on a night out, and on one side of the bar you got a load of alcoholic drinks, and on the other side of the bar you got a load of non-alcoholic drinks, and I went out and I drank all the alcoholic drinks, and then the next morning I woke up with the biggest hangover and I was like, oh my god, I've had so many bad drinks last night. Those bad drinks. It's just like, you got drunk. You decided to have a drink. You could have had the non-alcoholic drinks. Or let's say even worse, you got into a car and started driving and had a car accident. Oh, those drinks. Oh, you wouldn't believe those drinks. Oh, I can't believe it. So those alcoholic drinks need to make me more sober. It's like, you're choosing the types of relationships to get into. I don't understand how a man could force you into being in a relationship with him. So it was 100% your choice. And let's say you don't want to accept full responsibility because you feel bad about the outcome. Well, at least accept 50% of the responsibility of getting into the relationship. And that part of the 50% of the relationship is 100% your responsibility. So to say that you've dated these bad men, don't expect me to feel sorry for you. In the same way that if you wake up with a hangover after you've been out for several nights in a row and you realise the causal link between alcohol and a hangover. If you realise the causal link between alcohol and a hangover, and you go out and you drink too much and then you got hangover the next day and you come on and complain about how bad alcohol is, you're just denying all responsibility for your life. And I don't see how that's a conservative thing to do. I don't understand by positioning yourself as the victim of a hangover, it makes alcohol bad.
Every guy I've ever dated has just quite frankly not been great. few exceptions that were great people, but we just didn't work out. But most of the guys have treated me like absolute crap. And like most of the women watching this, I put up with that for years, okay?
Again, that's another, you're thinking for other people, like most of the women watching this. How the hell do you know that? Loads of women I know have fantastic relationships and have been with their partners a long time. So it's probably not the same people that you hang out with because everybody's fucking each other.
I, in high school, through almost all through college, dated the same guy who treated me horribly. He cheated on me multiple times. He said horrible things to me.
So why did you go out with him? Just leave. There's the door. Bye.
He did horrible things to me, and I sat there and I put up with it. I was always incredibly strong in my politics. I was always incredibly strong in school, in my professional life, in my career, in my determination. But for some reason, I went through so many years of letting someone treat me like crap.
Yeah, you let yourself treat yourself like crap. And until you accept that and move on from that and realize that you are the common denominator in all the relationships that you've had, you're never going to mature. You're always going to stay a little girl, and you need to woman up. There you go. There's my rant back to you. Or don't stay a girl. I don't care. Like, this is what I'm saying. It's like, you know, she's blaming men for being like these little boys. There's these little boys out there. Well, you're acting like a little girl. You're not acting like a woman.
And I stayed, and I know that there are so many strong women out there that can relate to that because they're such badasses, but when it comes to men, for some reason, they just can't get themselves to be as strong as they are in other places. Once I got out of that long relationship, I fixed the hell out of that. And then after that, I decided I wasn't going to put up with it anymore. And I had a few bumps in the road along
Fix that. It's not a construction project.
the way, but pretty much so I haven't put up with a lot since then. And I hope that all you women out there will be the same way. And men, if you guys are with a horrible girl or a horrible woman and she doesn't treat you well, I hope you'll do the same. I hope you'll be strong enough to say peace, because no one deserves to be treated like crap, all right? And there are some things that just aren't fixable in a relationship. If it's gone on and gone on and gone on and the precedent has been set for treating each other like crap, in my personal experience, it probably just isn't ever going to work. People don't change that much when they've been set in their ways and the precedent has been set. And here's another thing for ladies.
Yeah, the precedent is usually set the first time you let somebody get away with something. And so, yeah, and again, it's sort of like, I think most people, and again, I'm assuming now that most people have experienced some sort of a bad relationship. I mean, it's very difficult to go through life and not experience any bad relationship. But again, I don't think it's a man-woman thing. I think it's a human being thing. It's a minefield, but again, it's sort of like, you don't have to worry about fixing the world, and you don't have to worry about fixing men. You just have to get yourself a decent man, and that's all you have to do. So just do it. But the problem that Tomi seems to be having is that, well, she's coming up to 30, and she's probably spent most of her life building her career that she keeps bragging about. And so she's hitting the point whereby if she does want to have children, she's going to have to start thinking about settling down at some point soon, because nature isn't going to allow her to have children at some point in the near future. So she's only got a finite amount of time in order to get all her stuff and life and priorities together. So I can understand why she's frustrated, because she's invested so much of her youth into focusing on getting a great career instead of getting a great intimate relationship. And this is a problem for women, and this is the whole feminist thing, is that, you know, you should go and get a career, this, that, the other. But really, I mean, I've had a great career. It wasn't as hugely commercially successful as Tomi's, but then again, I didn't want that. I wanted something to just satisfy my lifestyle. And I've always found that having a family, having children, having personal intimate relationships with women has been far more rewarding than any career. So, you know, it's just where you're putting your priorities, and you only have 24 hours in the day, and you can only be in one place at once. And if you're going to sacrifice your life to a company for money, then that's what you'll end up with. If you invest in improving yourself so that you can attract a better mate, then you'll get that as well.
There, if I would give you a little bit of advice, is you teach people how to treat you, which is actually part of the point of the PSA that I did the other night. You set your own price tag, you teach people how to treat you, you set the precedent. If you say this is what I expect, then those people that want to meet those expectations, they'll still be there, all right?
Yeah, but again, it's very military the way that you're doing it. Again, you are right, you have got to set boundaries and you don't allow people to disrespect you, but you're already coming in with a disdain for a certain type of person.
Right, so I just want to give you that piece of advice. I also want to talk about what I call the DBAP double standard. For those of you who follow Clay Travis and a lot of others, they've developed that term, DBAP, don't be a.
I don't, I've never heard of it. Go on then.
DBAP, don't be a. I think you know what the P word stands for. I'm not going to say it. I think you know what the P word stands for. I'm not going to say it. But it's funny to me that I got ripped up and down by conservative accounts on Twitter because I basically said, don't be a. And all of a sudden,
oh, is it don't be a bitch or a pussy or something?
I'm bashing men, but when a man says DBAP, every man goes, yeah, don't be a. Okay, so I'm confused. I don't like double standards. I'm not a feminist, but you guys know I'm going to call it a double standard when
she keeps saying she's not a feminist, and then she keeps acting like a feminist.
I see it. So for me to say DBAP to the men out there who are acting like, you know what? All right.
No, she can say don't be a pussy or whatever it is that the thing is meant to be. Yeah, again, it's sort of like, I mean, not me watching it. I didn't take offence to it because it's got nothing to do with me.
All right, that's not me bashing men. That's me doing the same
Bash men all day long. It doesn't matter.
thing that a lot of other men do to men, saying, hey, grow up, act right, be a man, okay? Just gonna throw that out there. Be a man.
Yeah, but when men are doing it, it's more kind of, they're on the same team. It's sort of like, come on, guy, come on. It's like, come on, man, you can do this. Don't be a pussy. Don't just that kind. It's encouraging. Whereas she was doing it again from a very condescending place, sort of like, you shouldn't be doing this, you shouldn't be doing that, and just sort of like, again, she's a preacher, not a teacher.
Treat women with respect, and also demand.
Treat women with respect. You don't treat people with respect. You make so many false assumptions about so many people, and that's why people don't like you. And you don't mind people not liking you because it gives you attention. But the trouble is that all this attention that you're getting is diluted shit attention. When I think you'd rather, and this is just my assumption, you'd rather get attention from a high quality man that you're in an intimate relationship with, that you enjoy, both love each other and you enjoy being together with. I think you'd much prefer that attention over all the dickheads on Instagram or whatever. So if you look at yourself in the mirror and you think, what can I do differently to attract a different type of man, then you might have to realise the changes that you need to require in order to attract that kind of high caliber man that you're looking for. And stop being like this, because this isn't doing you any good.
And also demand that respect in return. You got to make sure women treat you right as well. You don't want a sugar baby. You don't want a girl that's DMing 5 different guys. You don't want a girl that's got nothing going on, who relies on you for everything. Hell no. Hell no. That's why I'm trying to help you. Find a girl that brings something to the table. Hell.
Why is she telling me what I want? Like, I decide what I want.
Hell, find a girl that brings a table to the table.
Brings a table to the table? Really?
I think it's going to work out better for you. I hope that for you. I hope that for me. Damn it. I hope.
Did she just grab her boobs like that?
I hope I can find a guy that appreciates the fact that I bring a table to a table, all right? And that's another thing.
She's all over the place, isn't she, bless her?
I'm not perfect.
You don't fucking say.
For people that thought that my commentary that I did the other night was me just being self-indulgent.
It was.
Guys, I laugh at myself more than anybody else out there.
You don't seem to have a good sense of humour. It seems to be a nervous laugh. You know, you don't seem to be a happy-go-lucky kind of girl.
I know I got problems. I am, in many cases, I'm a damn dumpster fire when it comes to relationships and everything else.
You see how she's gone from a humble apology, kind of like nervously being stated, to sort of like going back into full rant mode, to then realising that she's her own problem. Very interesting watching this video. She's done all that within 13 minutes.
I am not perfect. I am also a mess. Okay? But I do get frustrated just like anybody else. And for those people that tell me, well, you should just stick to politics and talking about politics, I hate to inform you of this, but I'm a whole damn human. I'm a whole damn human with many dimensions. I talk about a lot of things. All right? I don't just stick to politics because I'm a living, breathing human that has opinions about a lot of things. Okay?
And I do agree with her. Again, I agree with her on a lot of stuff. It's just, you can see that she's coming from a very disgruntled point of view.
Okay, that's just me. I guess that's the benefit of me. My mouth, and also the disadvantage of me, my mouth. Sorry. Is the way it is. That's how I am. Sorry. If you don't like it, bye.
I agree. I totally agree with her. If people don't like what she has to say, they don't have to watch it.
But another thing I want to talk about too is no woman wants perfection. I know a lot of you guys are saying, oh.
Again, she keeps saying no woman as if a woman is just one thing. Like she's speaking on behalf of women. Just speak on behalf of yourself. Just say, I don't want perfection.
Oh, nobody's perfect. We try. That's all we're asking for. For me in a relationship, I just ask for a couple of things.
Again, when she says that's all we're asking for, that's all she's asking for. See, what she's doing again is she's using her own, instead of to deny saying how she thinks and feels, she's saying we. She's hiding behind the group mentality. Get the group out of the way. This isn't about the group and all women. This is about you. It's not about all men and all women in the intersexual dynamics between the two. It's about what do you want and are you getting it? And if you're not, then sort it out like a true conservative.
I ask for you to be authentic and I ask for you to be loyal. And that to me comes with a side of good communication, being direct.
It's not just that, because I'm sure there's a lot of authentic and loyal guys. It's just that you don't want to have sex with them. So that excludes them. A bit like going back to the drinking analogy. Well, there's a load of drinks over there that would not give you a hangover in the morning. We've even got these drinks that taste the same as alcohol, but they've got no alcohol in them, and they won't give you a hangover. And you can have exactly the same drink, and it just tastes like, no, I want the alcoholic drink. So you're choosing the men that you're in relationships with based on where you're at and the frequency that you're resonating on attracts the type of man that you're asking for. So if you want a different type of man, change the frequency from which you're vibrating.
I'm very direct. I don't beat around the bush. I tell people how I feel. I tell people what I'm thinking. And if they like it or not, that is the way it is. I personally like to know where I stand with people, which is why I am very direct. I think the worst feeling for a man, for a woman, is not knowing where you stand with somebody. I think that's the most frustrating thing. I don't have time for it. I don't have time for the games.
I agree, but that's on an individual basis. That's not on a group collective.
To be texting somebody and then they just stop texting me or they fade out for a few days. You know, if you're interested, stay interested. And if you're not interested anymore, then fine, but please don't circle back. I talked about this the other night. That's just really the big thing for me, is just be direct in your communication. If you're not feeling me, then please just go away. It's just that simple. Go away, but don't come back. Please don't come back. Because like I said the other night,
You can just block someone. It's, again, all these things that she's saying are problems aren't problems if she's got firm boundaries. But by the sounds of it, she hasn't got firm boundaries.
I don't care anymore.
She's a really hurt girl and she doesn't know what the hell to do. And I'd be more than happy to help her out. But if she'd listen to me, because I don't know if she classes me as a boy or a man. And what I've also come to learn is that you can't, like she's saying, I agree with her, you can't really help people. You know, it's... people are at where they're at, and until only you can do change really yourself.
No longer like me and I'm not a real conservative. I gotta tell you guys something, clear it up real quick. I stopped caring about losing followers, for being honest, a long time ago. I am far more concerned with losing myself trying to appease people. I'm not an appeaser. That ain't what I do. All right? I speak the truth. I speak my mind. That is how I am. That is how I'm wired, and that's how I'm always gonna be. And to all the ladies out there that were saying preach, I hope you find a great man. And to all the men out there, I hope you find a great lady that treats you well. And until then, I hope you have damn fun in the process. So that's it for me tonight, guys. God bless you all. Take care.
So, yeah, I think that was an apology. Thanks, Tomi. Just get yourself a decent guy. You probably won't have to make all these videos.